This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with SB Sports. We're absolutely delighted to bring a new guest, obviously, on obviously Lee Gormley. Obviously, Lee have spoke to you obviously quite a bit. We've followed each other for quite a bit, and obviously watched your amateur sort of career in England sort of blossoming. I guess it sort of came as a surprise to us in December that you'd sort of decided to turn pro. Was it, I guess, sort of rolling back, sort of first of all, obviously I know it's well documented and stuff like that. You were a late bloomer to obviously going into the boxing sort of things. You're originally from Lurgan, obviously based now in, is either Manchester or Bolton, is that correct?
Yeah, Bolton, yeah, Manchester.
So I guess sort of, first and foremost, sort of what took you to England, obviously away from Lurgan? I guess was it sort of studying sort of the time it sort of took you away?
Yeah, so first moved away from home in Lurgan from when I was 18. Me and one of my friends, Monis Lahern, you call him, we moved over for university at 18. First went to Leeds originally, lived there, studied there for would have been 5 years or so. Obviously, the usual route that a lot of Irish boys take is met the missus over in England. She's from around this area. She's from Bury, in Manchester. So she had like a longer course than mine. So we stuck around Leeds and then eventually moved to Manchester, and here we are, living in Bolton at the minute. And yeah, as you said, with the boxing, I never started until sort of mid-20s or like earliest 20s. It wasn't until I came to Bolton as well to actually start it. The only boxing gym I've ever properly trained at is Elite Boxing in Bolton, and yeah, great gym. Started there, and just had a few learned like early amateur fights, and then just got stuck into it. Like I ended up with, I think I finished with over 30 something amateur fights on total for Halliwell ABC, which is whenever I first started, like it was sort of growing club, but now it's like it's really taken off. And I think over the next few, like there's already been a lot of Northwest champions and a couple of like national champions and stuff coming out of it, but the facilities and the gym and stuff and the talent the Halliwell ABC has at the minute, like it's flying. So I think over the next few years you're going to see a lot more fighters coming out of Bolton from Halliwell specifically, and you see a lot more champions, national champions, and then eventually in the pros. Like, but yeah, for me before Christmas, the decision was for me to turn pro. Like the decision was made quite a while ago. Like for like last year, even back as far as COVID times, I'd always thought, yeah, I'm gonna turn pro, but spoke to like amateur coaches at the time. Phil Robinson, head of the amateur team now, and he persuaded me to stick at it for now a wee bit, and I'm glad I did, like, because I ended up fighting a lot of good fighters, got some good wins over some top fighters, like big, some up and coming prospects, some like Merseyside champion I beat at the time. Yeah, I just stayed busy. I got all that experience, fought so many different styles as well towards the end, which was key for when I'm going to turn over, like, and yeah, eventually then last year, just before Christmas, I said like I was done with the amateurs and I'm gonna, ditch the vest for good, like, and get stuck into the pros. So yes, process has been sort of a long one, like, but we're nearly there now, like a week and a half or so out. So yeah.
I guess it's sort of a late bloomer to the sport. And obviously I know that you're involved within obviously the sport as well. Obviously I think you've done journalism, is that correct? And you sort of have done, you've done sort of the approach that I sort of have now, sort of roles reversed, where you may have been interviewing boxers and writing articles. You now sort of switching it the opposite way about. So was that where the sort of passion came for obviously getting into boxing, was sort of hearing people's stories? And I know obviously like you're boxing from way back.
Yeah.
Was it that sort of nosiness and intrigue that sort of get you into it, and then once you put the gloves on, it was sort of the adrenaline inspired, and you just couldn't get away from it? Was it like a drug that you just couldn't put down? What was it that then got you into boxing then, obviously at a later age?
Yeah, so my job now, I work for Buckstraw. I still do it. Obviously full-time job as well as balancing a pro career. But yeah, I did sports journalism at Leeds Trinity University. Eventually got into a few freelance jobs and stuff, and then worked for a few boxing outlets and stuff. But yeah, boxing, I've always enjoyed it. Like I've always wrote about it from when I started. Always loved boxing history, but I'd never properly got into it myself until do you know who it was? It was probably the same for a lot of Irish players. It was probably called Frampton that properly like inspired me to take it up myself. Like I'd started doing a wee bit of training, but I think can't remember what fight it was exactly, but I was living in Leeds at the time. I remember watching Carl's it might have been one of the Kiko Martinez fight, maybe one of his earlier world title fights in Belfast on like Freeview TV. Like I just thought like fucking hell, this is something like, and sort of inspired me to get the gloves on myself. And then it was soon after that we moved to Manchester and ended up in Bolton, started at Elite, like, and as you say, yeah, just got stuck into the boxing bug, as I say. Once it started, like it is like a drug. It's hard to explain to people that don't do boxing like what it's like. It's just different from other sports. So you just get hooked on it. I just want to get better and improve every day. Like, and that was the same for me. And yeah, a few years down the line, now I'm turning pro after doing that. Like, but I think yeah, originally it sort of I was always involved in writing about boxing, studying boxing, but it sort of transpired then into getting into it myself.
Is it sort of, is it fair to say you probably fell in love probably more with the sport now that you're sort of, you've boxed and everything else? Because there's so many people out there that obviously are involved in the sport that just never put a pair of gloves on. I've done obviously a few sort of smaller amateur sort of things, but now for you to go the opposite way, does it probably do you fall in love with it more? The fact you're knowing other wee bits and where you have your favorite fighters and how they set the traps. You're studying and educating yourself more. Are you falling in love more with the sport now than you probably ever have?
Oh, 100%. I think it takes you to actually get involved yourself to fully appreciate it, and then yeah, I think your love for it definitely grows. Like even like I used to play football when I was younger, and I read about that as well. Like, but it's not the same if you're just writing about something or you're just looking at something as a fan or whatever. Like I always think to actually do it yourself, you feel more for it and you put more energy into it. And as I say, yeah, like studying, writing and stuff about certain fighters, you can appreciate them a lot more when you actually get in there and realize how difficult it is, not just the training, like, but certain aspects of sport. Certain things that guys do, and obviously just the toughness that's needed to get through it. Like, and like, I don't like to say, oh, you have to get in, you have to do boxing to understand it, like, because there's obviously been plenty of coaches and stuff throughout history that never fought themselves, but they knew plenty of the sport and became all-time greats, trainers and that. Like, but for me personally, I just think like doing it yourself, you do get a better grasp of it, obviously, and you find a deeper passion for it as well.
I guess I guess it's not all sunshine and sort of rainbows. It's a sort of as a saying from sort of Rocky, but I guess the last 5 years or so I've been involved sort of in understanding the sort of sport a bit more. It's not all great. You're obviously going to have your setbacks. Where fights fall through at the last moment and everything else. And I guess sometimes we've seen some of the greats. Like I was obviously speaking to Carl Frampton there during the Lopez Conlon fight week, and he doesn't miss the sport. And they think of someone that was a 3-time 2-weight division world champion. They hate it, the sport, but they like the fighting, but the training they hate it. Do you can you see the parallels with that, where it's the process, it's you're a fighter, you want to fight, but it's all the education and the training and development to come into fight week. Does that annoy you sort of in any way, or is it just because it's still new to you?
No, I still love it. Like, and I don't see that love for passion for it going away anytime soon. Like, obviously, whenever eventually down the line stop actually fighting myself, I'll always have a job within boxing as well. Like, but I get why fighters do sort of fall out of it. Like, and Carl specifically, like Carl came up, the hard way, really, like through the sport. He wasn't like this big Olympian name, big he was a very good amateur, obviously, like, and he had a decent following, but he had to come up the way of, selling tickets and grafting and, doing what all these guys like myself are doing now, like on the domestic scene, like selling tickets, fighting and sponsors, getting the name out there, promoting yourself, like. So yeah, I can see why fighters don't miss that whatsoever. Like, and it takes so much effort, so much hard work to actually get to a certain level, and get like a breakthrough. And not a lot of fighters even get their breakthrough. They'll get to a certain point and they'll just won't be able to make that next step, and might even be through any fault of their own as well. Like, so I can see why some guys do lose a bit of passion for it. Like, but for me, like, I've loved boxing, like, and even more so now on the eve of my debut, like. But yeah, I can see why guys do fall out of it. Like, I think that for Kjart, like back to the Kjart as well, I think he was someone that was like always going abroad and stuff towards the end, like over in England and that, for camps. So he was leaving his like the young family behind and stuff, and that's always a tough part. Like for me, I don't think I could do that. Like, leave. I've got my fiance and a wee fella who's 3 now. Like, I wouldn't be able to like leave them for weeks on end and go into like a camp abroad or whatever. Like, because it makes you a bit miserable. Like, so like for me, like, I enjoy boxing and enjoy being around family a lot as well. Like while I'm training, like, so that. So you might already be a wee bit miserable if you're in a training camp as well. So I don't see the point in like making yourself more miserable, like going away and stuff. But like Frampton was over with Jimmy Moore towards the end, wasn't he? Like, so I could see why he doesn't miss it whatsoever, like going abroad, leaving family and stuff like that. Like, but yeah, for me, like, I still enjoy it. Like,
With you having obviously a young child as well, obviously it's about creating sort of memories for them as well. Obviously, your wee boys obviously now at the age you probably not understand it as much. Will you sort of bring him will he come to your debut next week, or because he's so young, will he be kept away until he can understand it a bit better?
no, he won't be there. He'll be sleeping by the time I get in the ring. Like, I'll get him up and he'll get me up bright and early the next morning, though, no doubt. Like, I'll tell him a bit about it, show him the videos and stuff. But yeah, he's too young to go now. He's only 3. Like, he'll be four before Christmas. But yeah, that's what it's all about. And then it's like, it's all about leaving family legacy for me. Like, I want to have a lot of fights and big titles and stuff down the line where Jacks or any future children, grandchildren, whatever, can look back and say like, oh, my dad or my granddad did this, did that. He was a brilliant fighter, like, and yeah, that's what it was about for me. Like, I didn't get into boxing for money or nothing like that. Like, I think anyone that does, you're silly, really, because there's not a lot of money in it unless you're already a big name. Like, so yeah, for me, yeah, it's that's what it's about, leaving a bit of history and stuff, especially for family down the line. Like,
You've obviously had great preparation. Obviously, I sort of, as I follow your sort of story and stuff on Instagram. I see you've Alex Dilmaghani in your gym. You were sparring Charlie Edwards, Isaac Lowe. You've sort of done your trade sort of even before your debut, which you've prepared long and hard for it, and it's sort of been planned backwards. Is that obviously that's leaving you probably very, very confident going next week? But I guess the minute you go to make that ring walk, that's when the nerves are going to start to creep in. You probably couldn't be better prepared for making your debut next week.
yeah, preparation's been great. Like I was saying previously, like, my amateur coach at like last year said, "Do you want to do a few more in the lead up to the fight?" Like, but the amount of sparring that I've got in the last even just 6 months has been unreal, as you said. Like, Charlie Edwards, Isaac Lowe, Alex Dilmaghani, like Paul Butler. It's great fighters, like world champions, elite level, world level guys. Like, so I didn't need any more amateur fights. Like, I had all that experience. Like, so this was like a new type of experience, and it's tough, like, because you go into like you go they come into our gym as well, obviously, like, for sparring, but like even the experience of making the road trip to like another gym, like Joe Gallagher's or Amir Khan's or whatever, or somewhere around the area, like, and going in, and it's intense, like, and you're sparring like a world champion who's getting ready for the big title fight, like, and that's as good a preparation as you can get, really, like for a fight, like. So yeah, preparation's brilliant. And that's like the sparring outside of the gym as well. I know Alex Dilmaghani trains with us now, like, but they're fighters from outside the gym. But even the in-house sparring's unreal at our gym. Like, we're gonna bring him up anyway. Liam Gaynor, done loads and loads of rounds for him this training camp. Both of us obviously fighting soon. Him in a couple of weeks as well. Great rounds for me. Like Liam's a great experienced fighter, and learning from him every day in the gym. Like, but
He's
yeah,
mad as well too.
oh, mad as wag. That's yeah, he's good. He's good crack. He's good lad, Liam. Like, good. I love having him in the gym. Like, fellow Irishman over in Bolton. Like, so yeah, we actually sparred this morning. Did a few rounds this morning, and a really hard bag session, abs and stuff after. So yeah, we're both flying, like, both ready to go.
I guess obviously it's that banter obviously in the gym that bodes well. I done some laughing. I think it was it last week. I think he put up a small video and someone said, "What do you do when you're getting punched to the body?" And the arms are up over the head as if you're sort of relaxing. You know,
Uh,
it's that banter that obviously makes your camp. It makes the time fly, makes it enjoyable because it's not always enjoyable, particularly obviously when you're getting punched all about the place.
yeah, that's,
The other thing I just wanted to sort of go back to as well is, do you find it crazy when you're sparring, you know, really high level fighters and they're actually giving you advice on how to beat them? You know, or do this or do this, you know. You think in a
yeah,
sport of how brutal it can be, people's actually passing on advice saying, whenever you're throwing this punch, your hands coming down or move your body in this way. They're actually trying to perfect you whilst they're trying, you know, whilst you're in there moving about with them as well.
yeah. I know what you mean. It's a bit of a weird one. It's like box. It's a boxing specific thing, now, isn't it? Like, it sounds a bit weird. Like, someone explained this is how you should have punched me better. But yeah, it's that just comes down to experience too from all these guys. Like, they've been there and done it. They know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. Like, and I think that's the key thing for me whenever you move up in levels, like with sparring stuff, is it's not necessarily like the power or like speed or whatever. Like, it's these guys, like, it's just like the distance, the reactions, like they can see stuff in like split seconds and they react and adapt to it. Like, and yeah, the guys that have sparred over the last few months, like, they give you great advice straight afterwards. And as you say, it maybe a bit weird for anyone not in boxing, like, but yeah, that just comes with experience. Like, and a lot of these guys, like, they're happy to pass on their wisdom. Like, sometimes you get guys that aren't. You get spars where maybe it gets really bit heated or intense or whatever, and different level of intensity. But most guys are sound. Like, all the guys I've been sparring were level guys. They all speak to you afterwards and give you advice and certain things you can do better to improve and stuff, which is brilliant. Like,
You've obviously you've obviously a birthday coming up now this week as well. Could obviously when you were planning sort of this, would you sort of prefer to maybe have the fight before your birthday so you could sort of celebrate your birthday as a pro with a winning record, or was it obviously with the birthday in mind? Was it always just when you knew it was coming up? It was like, I'm going to miss celebrating my birthday, but I guess your sort of birthday will be delayed sort of a week or so, and then it'd be like a double celebration.
yeah, I'm not really asked, to be honest, man. It could be 3 weeks or a month after my birthday. I wouldn't really care. Like, I don't really, I'm a pretty chill guy. Like, I don't really, well, I won't really be getting up much on it. I'll just be family time. Like, the only thing obviously I'll be missing out on is a bit of birthday cake or a bit of grub, like, but I only have to wait a week before I can have indulge a wee bit more. Like, but yeah, whenever the date came up, week after my birthday, I didn't really mind at all. Like, I'm just fully focused on the job. Like, as I said, I can wait, and I've waited this long, like, so I can wait another week for a bit of birthday cake. Like,
With you obviously being in Bolton as well, do you obviously drive past the venue, obviously for your debut as much? Have you sort of been taking a drive round and going another week, another week, another week, sort of counting down, or have you tried to stay away from it as much as possible?
it's not in the same area. It's I'm not great with geography, like, but it's sort of in the opposite direction a bit. The gyms over this way, and the fight venues on the other side, like in town and that, like. But I've been there before. Like I've been there as a spectator myself, watching teammates. So I actually went to see Liam fight there.
In March, wasn't it?
I think it was last March, or recent, for that one. I've been there before for other fights and stuff, like, so. Yeah, it's a great venue, like it's a lovely venue. All the way it gets done up and stuff, it's brilliant for fans, like, and yeah, it's going to be even better as a fighter myself, like.
It's crazy to think, obviously, what 11 days from now that it'll sort of happen. Does the nerves start to creep in now? That I guess with you only not being all your life as a boxer, do do, do you come in with it like a point to sort of prove, or is it the fact that it's in your head? Where somebody, let's face it, in boxing nowadays, experience counts for nothing. You could box all your life and not achieve in the sport. And we've obviously seen people. We've seen people come into the sport from a white collar background as well, which gets slated in the sport. But people's come in from a white collar background and got the British level. People's got the world level and stuff as well. Or do you come in with a point to sort of prove, or does your sort of experience you built up in the last few years prepare you very well for moving in? Because we know at the start you're obviously going to have journeymen sort of they build you along a wee bit. Do you come into it with any sort of real nerves or a point to prove?
Oh yeah, I've got a point to prove, but mainly to myself, mainly, like, and as you're saying, like, it's each their own, in there for experience wise. Like, I done learned my trade as an amateur over here on a tough circuit in northwest England. Like, there's no easy fights. Like, every fight's hard. Everyone's tough, like, but it's each their own. And some guys come from white collar, from amateurs, or some people have no experience and still do well. Like, and as you said, some people come from deep amateur backgrounds, even in the Olympics or whatever, and they just don't transition very well as a pro. Like, but for me, I've always had a pro style. It was never really suited for the amateurs. Like, I always was going to be a professional boxer. Like, so yeah, point to prove. Towards the end of the amateurs, like, I just sort of got a bit annoyed at it, because I was, I was a busy guy. I took fights every week, or on the day, even a couple of days before, like, and maybe got some like shitty results, getting robbed on away shows all the time, and it happened a lot, like, and I just thought, like, I'm done with that now. Let's just go and show what I can do as a pro properly, like, and in terms of nerves, like, just the same, same with any fight, really. Like, obviously pro debut maybe a wee bit more intense, but I'm calm, I'm ready to go, like, I'm focused, I know what I'm capable of, and got a great team, great coaching staff and stuff at a great gym, like, so I'm ready to go 1-0. Like, the nerves will be there, as they always are in any fight, like, that's the same for any fighter, any level. It doesn't matter if you're fighting journeyman or you're at world level, like, the nerves are always there, like, but it's just about dealing with it and getting the job done.
How have you felt, obviously, because we know with obviously amateur boxing, there's probably more robberies in amateur boxing than there is in professional boxing. How did, obviously, because we even see it obviously in pro boxing still, where obviously judges scorecards and stuff, like we obviously look at Josh Taylor and Lopez last weekend, where two of the judges had it only be 2 rounds, where it could have been wider. And if Lopez hadn't won the last round, it was a draw. And you're sort of going, how is that possible? How did you cope with it in the amateurs? Does that bode you well going into the program? They know that there's going to be obviously mistakes made. We obviously are well highlighted on Terry O'Connor over the years. He always seems to have different scorecards to other people. Is it sort of mentally prepared you at the fact that until your hands raised, anything can sort of happen?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, for me, towards the end, the amateurs, like, I was older enough and experienced enough that I sort of just brushed it off. It was annoying, like, obviously, whenever you nearly stop a guy, drop a guy, beat them up, or school them for 3 minute rounds in an amateur fight, and then you get a decision against you, like, and even the home crowd, or even the all corners and stuff, are like, sort of, like, it's annoying, but yeah, I had enough experience just to brush it off towards the end, like, but you see some of the younger ones, like, I've been on shows where you see kids in tears and stuff, like, just because I think it's the end of the world. Like, you know, lose a fight and they should have won. They've been robbed blind on an away show or whatever, and they don't deal with it as well as much or as well. Like, and I think that's what people need to understand. Like, and when, especially amateurs, like they're not just. It's not like some of them don't even really look up. I've seen judges are just sitting looking down for whole fighting, and they look up when they hear the crowd roar, and they'll score it. Oh well, that guy must have won the round. Like, but they need to realize like a lot of these kids that put so much into it, like it puts them off the sport. Then, like you see so many young ones, like wee fellas on girls, even like just they just get annoyed by they get robbed a few times, and it snowballs then, and then eventually people just turn away, and you see it happen a lot. Like, so yeah, it's annoying like for younger ones more so when you get a bit of experience, you can sort of brush it off. Like, but in the pros too, yeah, as you're saying, it's obviously a different level than the amateurs, and it's more corruption and there's money involved and stuff. For you know, there's always financial gain. Like, and that the Lopez Taylor fight, yeah, was bit of a wild scorecards. Like, I think Lopez more or less dominated that fight. That was a bit of a classy performance, and if he had have, as you said, lost one or two of the last few rounds and got a draw, like, you know, it would have been a bit of a shambles. That, like, especially after like the Catterall fight as well, which a bit of a bad one as well. Like, but happened to that, like,
with obviously you being Irish, obviously it'll not take long for people to start sort of, you know, saying you're like you know you're like a Ryan Burnett, you're like a Carl Frampton, you're like a Steve Collins. You know, it'll not take long for people to start making comparisons to other Irish fighters. Will that
yeah.
sort of fill you with joy, the fact that someone says you remind me of such and such, or would you be probably more inclined if someone was to look back at someone in the past rather than someone probably more in the recent? Would you be probably more filled with pride if someone said you're like a Muhammad Ali or somebody of the older generation? Where would you like to be sort of? Where would you like someone to picture your style or base you off?
Yeah, well, any comparison to any of them names would be great. Like, yeah, I wouldn't really mind. Like, I think like I'm a technical boxer. I think I watch that much, or I've watched that much like old stuff that I'd say I probably got a bit of an old school style as well. Like, um, yeah, I think well, people know after next week and after a few fights, they can start making their own calls on how comparisons and that. Like, but yeah, I'd say I probably got a bit more of an older school style. Like, but yeah, I've watched Carl a lot. He's someone that I watch a lot. Yeah, he was technically very good, very solid all around boxer. Like, so he's someone that maybe someone will say down the line.
It would be nice to have a good comparison, and be nice
Yeah,
to finish off your boxing career a few pounds behind him as well.
yeah, wouldn't be too shabby that. Yeah.
Obviously the week after, then obviously your stablemate Liam Gaynor, and I know you were over at the first fight as well in the Girdwood here in Belfast. Obviously Liam and Colin Murphy, I guess, are sort of showing sort of testaments that younger fighters are obviously happy to put the records on the line. They're obviously rematching for the BA Irish super featherweight title, so they're actually going up in weight as well. Obviously, I guess you can't sort of focus on that fight just yet until you get your own out of the way, but really intriguing rematch. And I've been sort of trying to help Mark to get it on the Katie Taylor card as well, and unfortunately it just didn't work out. But really intriguing sort of rematch the week after. And I know you're coming over to it as well.
I am, yeah. So I was at the first fight in Belfast in Belfast. A great fight, maybe the best Irish fight of the year. That was unreal. Like, just toe to toe. And now they're both moving up weight and going for the Irish title instead of the Celtic title. Yeah, I'm fully confident Liam can get the job done. Like, he's sharpest he's ever looked in training. Like, I've been on the end of his punches and sparring, like, so I know as good as anyone. Like, yeah, he looks as good as he's ever looked. He's corrected, a few wrongs or whatever from the first fight. He's got his own new game plan and stuff, and he's as fit as a fiddle. Like, so I expect him to get the job done, win the Irish title. So me next week go 1-0, and then go home for the rematch and watch or back to Belfast and watch Liam be crowned Irish champion. Like, so that'll be a good couple of weeks or week for the gym. Like, and yeah, looking forward to it. I think Liam, as I said, like, he's in great shape already, and he's got, you know, a couple of weeks to go, at least 2.5 weeks. So yeah, fully expect him to right the wrongs and get the win. Like,
I guess when you see so many fight cards, I think this weekend, I think there's seventh fight card, and you know, in the first 6 months of the year, I think we're online for obviously the busiest year in quite a while in Irish boxing for home shows. I guess obviously probably the burning desire for anybody still back home in Lurgan is to not always be able to afford to come over to England to watch you fight. You're obviously hoping to get, you know, a fight back home here in Ireland at some stage as well. I guess wouldn't be bad if you could make, you know, start off the card maybe a Katie Taylor, you know, return in October or November, or get on a Mick Conlon card, or I know the connections are well, but they're between Elite and obviously Mark Dunlop as well. So I guess you were looking to get a home fight at some stage as well.
oh, I for sure. I've a few ones coming over, obviously from Lurgan for my debut. Like, but as you said, like, times are a bit tight at the moment. You know, flights are cost a bomb these days, and tickets and that. Like, but yeah, that's the dream. Like, I don't know about Lurgan specifically, like, but the any venues that would be a dream come true. Like, fighting back in Lurgan at some point. But as you said, any of the big cards, Belfast, Dublin, anywhere in Ireland at all, really, like, would be a dream. Like, after few good learning fights as a pro over the course of this year, next year, and then we'll see what happens. You know, there'll be plenty of big fights down the line. As you say, Irish boxing at the minute, it's been flying. Like, unlucky with some results. A bit annoying that the spotlight's been on it this year with Katie Taylor and Mick Conlon, like maybe our two biggest names right now, but the results just didn't go the right way, like, for the Irish, like, but still, just to have them events in Ireland is unreal. Like the Katie Taylor homecoming was a different level, like, and then obviously Mick's got a massive Belfast following, always brings the crowd there, like, so yeah, Irish
You,
boxing.
you can't beat obviously the Irish fight nights, and obviously I was at both obviously fights, and you know the atmosphere is incredible, and that's what probably Irish boxing is probably renowned for, is really getting behind the fighters. And I guess obviously, you know, it's, I guess for anybody that sort of follows the sport, and I know you follow it religiously as well, it leaves that sour taste in your mouth. But I think we're in this stage now where we've a conveyor belt of so much talent coming through. You know, it's not, well, we have another world champion again. It's just when, you know, with obviously so much talent coming through. And look at obviously the amateurs, you know, particularly the female boxers. You know, Ireland's probably got the greatest female amateur team about. You know,
Yeah,
it's scary how good it is.
yeah, even on amateur level, you know, plenty so many big prospects coming through. Like, yeah, hopefully the Olympics sort of sticks around a bit longer, or the boxing at the Olympics sticks around a bit longer. Like, you'll see these guys shining. But yeah, the women's is flying too. People like Michaela Walsh and that, like, yeah, and their bra as well, obviously. But yeah, the amateur teams are flying at the minute, and you think, as you said, like, it'll be just a matter of time before more world champions are coming through from Ireland. Like,
Yeah, well, look, obviously, thank you very much, obviously, for your time, Lee. It's great to finally get it done and dusted. We'll probably maybe end up doing your follow up for obviously your debut the week after. We'll do it in Belfast, when obviously you're going to be over for obviously the Murphy Gaynor rematch. So we maybe get a catch up with you obviously on fight day in Belfast here. Obviously, all the very best of luck with your professional debut in Bolton next week. And obviously, we'll look forward to catching up with you very, very soon.
yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, cheers for having me on. Good to speak to you properly. I got tickets for one of the Frampton fight years ago.
That's
Offers.
right.
It's good to finally catch up. And yeah, I'll be in Belfast supporting Liam in a couple of weeks. Like, so yeah, I get another catch up then.
Definitely. Well, listen, thanks very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too, City. Cheers. Nice one.
Yeah,
Thank
take
you.
care. Thanks. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.